ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our penultimate performer this evening. Would you please start a round of applause?
Hello everyone. Are we all well? I need some enthusiasm. Are we all well? Excellent. Yeah. That seems... I'd say from here that looks statistically significant. Because it's very important that you make room for the motherfucking science. Okay, hi, I'm Luke, and I'm a scientist. And I've been invited here to do some comedy. Comedy got a better reaction than science. So, yeah, comedy time. So, aeroplane food. What's that about? Well, there are several factors. So, most important of which is that while you're in flight, the cabin is pressurized to less than you would normally have, so lower pressure, and also the humidity is a lot lower. What this means is that the mucosal membrane is generally dehydrated. As a result, your sense of smell is reduced, and seeing as smell is such an integral part of taste, anything you eat on an aeroplane will be worse than it would be. So, nasal mucosa undergoing low pressure and low humidity situations. What's that about? Okay, so let's say that's enough. That's enough comedy for now. We go on to the science. So yes, I am a PhD student at the University of Manchester here, and I work in imaging sciences. That's any imaging of the human body, so I deal with MRIs, CT scans, that kind of thing. In particular, I like to look at bone density scans, which are used to detect how much calcium someone has in their bones, particularly for older people, just checking that they have enough calcium physically to fragile bones. But these scans also pick up calcium anywhere in the body that isn't the bones. So in particular, I look at calcium that builds up around the heart. What's up with that? Well, so when damage occurs to the blood vessels around the heart, calcium can get trapped there. So the more calcium there is in a place, the more damage has occurred and the more at risk they are of heart disease. So it's important information to kind of gather, and it's something that if a doctor were to go through all the images, it would take quite a long time to measure the classification, find it and identify it. So what I do is I teach computers to look at the images and automatically tell you how much calcification there is. And they can go through hundreds of images in a matter of seconds. So before I talk to you about how computers look at images and see the world, I'd like to talk to you about how you look at images and see the world. So we'll start off with the fact that your brain is brilliant. I'm hoping that this isn't the first time you've heard that, but it's always worth reiterating. Your brain is brilliant. Now, I don't want your brain to get big-headed. No, wait. You know what I mean. But yes, it's very lazy, and it will cut corners where it can. But it genuinely does so much to make sense of the constant stream of information that comes through your eyes, to give it context and meaning. For example, if you were to be looking at a chunk of coal in a well-lit room, and some snow outside at night, there's more light would bounce off the coal and into your eyes than the snow. but your brain is clever enough to work out from context and the scene around it that the snow should still be white and the coal should still be black. Coal? I don't know why I chose that particularly as an example. You rarely see it anymore. So, for younger people in the audience, snow is this thing we used to have before we burnt all the coal and warmed up the planet. So that's take it out. Sorry, no. Enough. Yeah, back to the science. So yeah, your brain uses the context to imply all sorts of things about the information that it gathers. And it does a good job most of the time. Occasionally there's things that trip it up. I don't know if anyone remembers this. Yeah? Can you give me a loud cheer if you think that that dress is black and blue? Can you give me a loud cheer if you think it's white and gold? Great. Before you all divide up into factions and start throwing chairs at each other. Who am I kidding? This is Science Week. Before you all draw your scalpels and start blasting each other with broken chemical flasks, let me explain. So the problem is that this image doesn't contain enough context for you to work out what's going on. Your brain doesn't know what the lighting situation is. It could be like a dark blue light, or it could be a bright yellow light. It doesn't have enough information to make a decision. So, does your brain inform you that it hasn't come to a decision and that it doesn't have enough information? It does not. What your brain does is vehemently stick to one opinion and just tell you, yeah, 100% sure it's that. And this is why it's so difficult if you want to try and get a computer to read an image like you and I would. It's really frustrating because it doesn't have all the processing that your brain does without you realizing. So this is why computer scientists have come up with a range of techniques called neural networks. So the idea is that it's a piece of artificial intelligence that attempts to mimic the processing that your brain does when it receives information. So both the brain and the neural network are composed of a massive number of individually simple parts, neurons. And then when you combine millions of those together and interconnect them, it can perform complex tasks. Your brain, for example, there are groups of neurons that all band together to detect things like edges or corners. And these are the kind of things that, without you even thinking about it, your brain uses to recognize objects. You have to show a neural network hundreds or thousands of images before it even cottons on to the idea that corners and edges exist. It's really frustrating. Let's try this one. Can everyone see a white triangle in the center of the image pointing upwards? Yes. What's that about? Because it's not there. You can see it, but it doesn't actually exist. Your brain just knows how corners and edges and shapes work, and assumes that there is something blocking your view of the other shapes. And incidentally, it appears that Pac-Man has struggled for employment recently. Sorry, another dated reference. For the younger members of the audience, employment is this thing we used to have. But yes, so once you've got a system that can identify corners and edges and shapes, you can combine those systems with other layers and make it more complicated. You can get it to solve very complex tasks. So one of the things your brain is incredible at is recognizing faces. This is something you do effortlessly, instantly, without even thinking about it. I cannot describe how hard it is to get a computer to recognize faces. It's so much work and so much processing, and it still gets it wrong. What is that about? It's not a face. faces in a scene and then processing it. It's something that you really do take for granted. You can look at multiple faces in an instant, recognize all of them. It's not, again, it's not 100% all the time. So, for example, has anyone ever had to do a double take because you thought you recognized someone that you knew but wasn't there? Has anyone ever been scared by something on the far side of a dark room that looked like a face?
Yeah.
That's your brain going, oh, I found a face, there's a face, there's a face, there's a face. And you go, no, that's just a slice of toast. And your brain goes, face. And you can't unsee the face. Even though you know it's a slice of toast, you can still see the face. Another potential situation. So let's say it's a clear autumn night. It's a mild chill in the air. You're walking along and you just gaze up at the stars. Just you and your thoughts. And then your brain nudges you. Hey! You see that bright white disc in the sky? Yeah? That's the moon! I recognize it based on visual information and context. Well done, brain. Very clever. Oh wow! Look the moon! It's got a face! No, it's... So the moon's surface is covered in craters and shadows that can give the illusion that it's, oh my god! There's only one logical explanation. There must be a man up there! So I encourage you to think, what's that about? Thank you very much, everyone.